Starship Enterprise right now. We're coming to you from the spectral plane of existence. You gotta slide in here. I can't even see your ghost.
That's funny. You're not supposed to see the ghost, are you?
Okay, actually, this is a serious topic. So, I was asking you, do you think demons are real? And you were like, yeah.
Yeah, most definitely. I know for a fact they are.
Okay.
So, whenever I was just a baby, my mom decided that on my first Halloween it'd be a good idea to go to the graveyard with a bunch of friends and take a Ouija board out.
Oh, yeah, that seems like a great idea.
Perfect idea. So all the questions that they initially asked the Ouija board were directed about me. They asked, where is Blake? Well, it spelled out grandma's.
Was this before you were born or after?
No, this is after I was born.
Okay.
Yeah. This is whenever I was literally less than a year old. Let's see, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. So I would have been about 6 months old.
And I take it your mom told you about this?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, super.
Okay. So 6 months old, she's asking the Ouija board, where's Blake? And it answers, and it says grandma's house.
Oh, neat.
Well, they could have known, everybody has these skepticisms about Ouija boards and stuff.
Yeah.
People had to have done it. But they could have known I was at my grandma's. That's very easy. But they asked, what is Blake doing? Well, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, so naturally it should have said sleeping, but it said that I was rocking. Okay, so at first my mom didn't understand it. And they continued to ask questions about other things, and it gave random weird answers. And so my mom decided that she was going to ask my grandmother. She called her and said, what is Blake doing? And she said, well, he's rocking. I've been awake with him since 3 o'clock in the morning. I've gone back to sleep and I've been rocking him since 3 a.m. And so that freaked my mom out a little bit. Well, on their way home,
that'll give you goosebumps.
Yeah, on the way home,
Not good.
They ran out of gas. So they ran out of gas in the car, and they locked everybody else's purses and stuff in the car except for one girl.
Okay.
And left the Ouija board sitting on the dash of the car.
Okay.
Locked the doors, everything's locked up. Well, they go to get gas and they come back. Car's still locked. All their purses with other monies and stuff like that are still in there, but the Ouija board's gone.
It's just gone.
Just gone. Now, she told me that after I told her the first experience that I had with a...
Yeah, so how did that conversation even come up?
Well, I ended up freaking out one day because the...
Your ghost started floating away.
Yeah, just naturally flying out.
Sorry, guys. We're not used to being in the spectral plane. This is all new.
It's a little different.
New technology.
But... So I told my mom, I said, Mom, every time I turn the radio on in my room to country, it like shuts off and like it's weird. I don't know what's going on. And then.
And this was, were you a kid at the time?
Yeah, I was like 9.
Like maybe 8, 9, something like that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was 9. It was right before I got my dirt bike. So I remember I freaked out a whole shitload before that.
Awesome.
But anyway, so that.
So you would turn it on and then it would just randomly turn off?
Oh, I could listen to anything but country. I could listen to anything but country, and as soon as it hit country, it shut off. I turn on the TV and I turn into CMT, country music, television.
Would it shut
off?
The TV also? Or
everything. The TV, it would shut off. Anything that had to do with country music would shut off.
That's really strange.
Pretty weird. And then I freaked out because I heard a bunch of people walking through the house in the middle of the night. And
was this around the same time?
Yeah, this was all within the same year.
Okay, so the TV's shutting off, radio shutting off, and you heard people walking.
Yeah, all throughout the house and a bunch of loud footsteps.
And just so, we can, just as a disclaimer, you guys didn't have a bed and breakfast where there was strangers running up and down the stairs?
No, we
brothers,
we lived in
sisters, or just you and Mom?
No, we had brothers and sisters. I had one brother and a baby sister that was just a newborn. But
so she probably wasn't
getting up walking. Yeah, and my little brother slept in the same room as me.
And if she was, that's equally as freaky.
That would definitely be freaky. That'd probably be even more
amazing.
Freaky. But so walking around, and I told her about that. That was freaking me out. She kept telling me, don't worry about it. Just say your prayers, all this and that, and it's gonna be okay. And then the worst thing, I started waking up in the living room. So
you didn't know how you got there though?
No, never understood how I got there.
Have you ever had dreams where you were where you thought you were awake but you couldn't move?
Like astral travel?
No, like where you wake up and you feel like a weight on your chest, and it feels like something bad's in the room.
I did have that later on.
Okay.
I'll get to those. That happened whenever I was about 13 and 14.
Okay.
But at this point, this was just continuously, at least twice a week, I would wake up in the living room in a chair and have absolute no recollection of how I got there, what happened, and I started waking up with scratches. So
Sure.
my mom kind of started freaking out at that point a little bit, and eventually moved out of the house.
Sure.
So
did you move with her, or
yeah,
like, okay.
yeah, we all moved out of the house.
Not because of the scratches, or it was
no,
just like.
but that was
on?
Definitely.
It was
that
right
had a
as
little
you were
bit,
getting ready to move, though.
It had a little bit of an influence on it. Like my mom, that was kind of like a pushing note on, hey, we probably should get out of here. But
Maybe
my
she was
mom
thinking
was
maybe it
freaked
was
out
something to do
already.
with the house or something like that.
Yeah. And
well,
then,
yeah, sure. The movie Poltergeist probably came out around then.
Yeah, I don't know what all it was, but she was getting freaked out with me.
Okay.
And so then, whenever we moved into these apartments, like, it didn't seem, nothing really bothered us for about a year.
Where was this at, Branson?
Yeah, it was all in Branson.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so then we moved into this house off Bee Creek Road, 1231 Bee Creek Road.
Okay.
And this house was the house of the people who own the cemetery in Branson. And they own Green Lawn Funeral Homes. Okay. Well, we didn't know until a few months after we rented the house, well, they actually used to dress the bodies in the basement of the house. And we thought...
Did they leave that? Did they forget to disclose that when you were moving?
Oh, yeah. That was never anything that was disclosed until we started actually, like, researching stuff. But, so, like, we thought it was weird whenever we moved in, because, like, John 3:16 was on the wall in, like, red. We thought it was spray paint. Later on, I figured out that I'm pretty sure that was a blood stain.
Okay.
Freaked me the hell out. But my entire family all had problems with the basement of the house, which is where they would dress the bodies to prepare them for the funeral services.
Sure.
And so...
Have you seen the movie Jane Doe?
I have not.
Dude. Okay, we're watching that later. Once we return from the spectral world.
Right on.
Yeah.
So, my stepdad...
So the basement's like the hot spot.
Dude, it was bad.
Okay.
My stepdad
that's
said
not far from where I live, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's really neat.
Yeah, you live in the apartments over there now.
Yep.
Yeah. But so my stepdad said that he would hear people like they were playing poker or cards downstairs all the time.
Like shuffling around, or like laughing,
like literally talking and like making bids on poker. And as soon as
he knew they were like playing poker.
Yeah, he figured it had to be some kind of poker or something, some kind of card game.
Okay.
But like we had turned the whole basement into basically like a whole gaming area anyway, so it was like a themed area. But like as soon as he'd start walking down the stairs, it would all stop.
Okay.
So that kind of freaked him out. But him being a 50-year-old man, he's like, oh, it's not real. It's
no big deal. Yeah.
Just in his head.
I'm sure it was nothing. Nothing to see here.
Yeah. So my mom, she had the same problem, and my mom said that she would see a man walking across the stage that we had built down there from time to time whenever she would get down to the bottom of the steps, and then he would disappear.
Okay.
And so...
Any idea who that was? Or
later on, I believe that it was the original gentleman that built the house.
Okay.
Because the family had owned the house forever, and I think it was the people that rented it to us. It was their grandfather or great-grandfather.
Okay. So it wasn't like a... So it's like a house that was passed down.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Old house.
Okay.
So, but anyway...
Maybe they started renting it out because
they didn't want to live in it
because
anymore.
They were hearing poker games in the basement. It makes sense.
But it started out with me hearing, like, the door shut.
Okay.
So, like, the door would shut to the basement, and it would slam. I mean, it wouldn't just, like, gently close. It'd slam. Okay. Like, no windows open, no breeze, no nothing. Door just slammed. Weird as hell. Door would be shut, door would open and slam. And it freaked me the hell out. And then, eventually, it moved to my bedroom door.
Especially when you're a kid, too.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you're naturally, as a child, you just assume that your basement is filled with vampires and monsters, and that's just, as a child, you just know this to be a fact.
Mm-hmm.
So
and it was freaking me.
So it wasn't just that door, though.
No, it started with that door, and then it moved to my bedroom door as well.
Right.
And then I woke up one night, and you talk about like that pressure.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the reason why I woke up was because I felt like my chest was being compressed, like I couldn't breathe.
You felt a weight on your chest, correct?
And then whenever I opened my eyes, I had a bench press set in my bedroom.
Yeah.
I always racked my weight every night because I have a little brother who cannot lift very much weight at all. Yeah. So my parents told me if I was going to have my weight bench in my room, had to put it up every night or he was going to take it away. Okay. So I made sure I put it up every single night. Well, every single piece of my weight, 185 pounds, was above my head, right there. And it just looked like it was levitating above my head. And so I freaked out and I reached up and grabbed it. And as soon as I grabbed it, all of that weight started coming down and I caught it on my chest. I freaked out, put the weights down, and I ran to my parents and I banging on their door. My stepdad tells me.
Didn't know what had happened.
Yeah, my stepdad tells me that I probably sleptwalked again like I did whenever I was a kid, sleepwalking. I said, I don't think you sleepwalk and pick up 185 pounds while you're asleep and put it above your head. It just doesn't seem realistic to me. And so that happened one more time.
Let me ask you this though, when you woke up, how did you feel?
Like I was gasping for air.
Okay.
Like absolutely unable to breathe until I grabbed those weights.
Did you feel like anything was in the room? Did you feel like...
It just felt like an empty room of darkness and...
Just like with a weight on your chest?
Exactly. Okay. Weight on the chest, not able to breathe.
Okay.
So after that, it happened one more time and I finally decided no more weight bench in the room.
Yeah.
Put the weight bench out, down in the basement.
Sure.
And I was done with the weight bench. Well,
no went by night workouts.
No.
There goes those gains.
Yeah, no more gains. They're gone. But a couple months later, I woke up with my TV that was the dresser was right in between my bed and my little brother's bed.
Yeah.
And the TV was on that dresser.
Okay.
Well, I woke up and it wasn't a flat screen. It's not one of those little light TVs.
Dude,
it's old school, like box TV. Thing probably weighed 45, 50 pounds. This thing is literally.
We used to love those suckers around and put that one. That's not normal.
No, not a place for it to be. There's no, it's not like...
So you wake up and you're holding this thing up?
I'm not holding it up whenever I wake up. Whenever I wake up, it's literally right above my head. Yeah, as soon as I see it, I freak out and I grab it, just like the weights.
Okay.
So at this point, I'm like deathly afraid for my life.
Well, so something's trying to hurt you is what it sounds like.
Of course, it's exactly what I felt like.
You.
And
did you feel like something was trying to hurt you? Could you feel like, or were you just like so freaked out that you were just thinking about catching it?
My entire life, I just felt like I was followed. I just felt like there was always something watching me, and it did not seem like it was a good thing.
Is there anything that you did that ever made it better?
Whenever I would be with my grandparents.
Yeah, tell me about your grandparents.
My great-grandfather was a Navy SEAL. The guy was a beast.
Yeah.
And he was just an awesome guy, very, very God-fearing Christian. And he made sure that we woke up every Sunday and we were at church. And I had to make sure that I did the right things in front of them.
Yeah.
If not, I was.
So he was sounds like he was a really strong guy.
Yeah, and he was very old school,
yeah,
old fashioned, and that was the only place where I ever felt safe growing up. So that had a big impact.
So did this stuff ever stop occurring, or did it just? Do you still experience?
It did not stop until whenever I was swimming in the pool one day. My grandfather was like on his deathbed at that time.
Yeah.
And we moved into Bee Creek Apartments.
Mm-hmm.
And so we moved into those apartments, and I'm swimming in the pool, and the next thing I know, like lightning strikes, and it wasn't supposed to be storming or anything.
Mm-hmm.
So we go back to the apartment, and as soon as I go back in the apartment and I start changing and everything, I get dressed, and lightning strikes again, and I saw my grandfather in the mirror in the bathroom. I saw his image, and I freaked out. And I told my mom what I saw. Not even 5 minutes later, my grandma calls and says that he had just passed away.
Whoa.
So
that gave me goosebumps.
Yeah, it freaked me out hardcore.
But you haven't had anything happen since then?
Ever since then.
It's like he's watching over you.
It's like it's stopped completely.
Yeah. You might have a guardian angel, bud.
I honestly, 100% I believe that. And since then, the only thing that I've noticed out of the ordinary is just a few months after he passed away, my grandmother got robbed.
Yeah.
And my grandfather, how he used to save for my college fund and my little brother's college fund and the rest of the grandkids, what he was going to give it to us, was he didn't believe in banks. He had cash.
Right.
And he had literally coffee buckets of cash.
Coffee cans, that's not uncommon. That's old school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was coins. He literally never used change. All of his change he would collect in containers. And he probably had, thousands upon thousands of dollars in cash in these jars, and a lot of quarters and a lot of dimes and nickels and stuff. Well, I find that no matter what I do with my change, I can put it, literally, if you look in my BMW right now, all of my change is in my car, and I always put my change in my car at least once a week. I wake up in the morning, and knowing that I have no change in my pockets and I'm sleeping in my underwear, I'll wake up with change in my bed. And I think that's my grandfather telling me that even though he wasn't able to look out for me the way that he planned to, financially and for my future, he's still looking out for me.
That's awesome, dude. I appreciate you sharing. All right, from the, what plane are we on? I don't know.
I have no clue. I don't remember.
From the spectral plane.
That's what it was. Yes.
Yeah. Well, we'll come back. We're going to do a post-interview breakdown here. So the topic of the day, are demons real? Are they becoming more prolific, and why? I'm going to show you guys a clip of just some different outbursts and things going on in the world that would really indicate that there's dark forces behind the scenes influencing people. I feel like there are a lot of demonic possessions actually taking place right now. However, a lot of them get diagnosed as schizophrenic. I don't necessarily agree with that because here's the neat thing about that. They give you these pills, but then you don't get better. So maybe that's not actually the problem. Maybe if there's a demon inside of somebody and you give them a pill, it's still there. So that's just my theory. I'm not sure how science could prove or disprove that. However, I have my reasons for that just because of different interactions I've had. I've unfortunately over the years encountered a lot of people with demonic presences in their life. For some reason they're drawn to me, like moths are drawn to light. They just show up. I don't know if it's because they need help or this, that, or the other. Anyways, I wanted to break down our discussion. We were talking about demons. We were talking about, kind of the spiritual world. So we were kind of talking about how Blake was waking up in his living room. I mean, he's really amazing to hear his story. He had scratches on his body at times. The one that really stuck out to me was the weight on the chest. So his story is different than a lot that I've heard, because I've talked to tons of people who have woke up in the middle of a dead sleep, and they're not sure if they're awake or asleep still, but they can feel something in the room. And a lot of times there's a weight on their chest. So me, about 10 years ago, I came under extreme spiritual attack, and I had dreams where I could feel that there was evil in the room. Like, I have a real gift of discernment. I could feel that in people, and I could tell as soon as I was awake that there was something in the room. And these things, I could feel the weight on my chest. They would try to cover my mouth. And they would try to prevent me, because I know the word, and so I know Jesus' name has power. So the second I would say his name, they were gone. So that only happened like once or twice. It was at a time that I was under real physical attack, and I believe some of that had to do with the spiritual realm. Anyways, long story short, he experienced that weight on the chest stuff there too. I think that's kind of a common theme with people who are fighting those battles, and it may go back to when you were a kid, especially when you're young. The devil doesn't discriminate against age. He doesn't care. There's not like an age limit, like you got to be at least 13 for him to mess with you. Now, doesn't care. Younger the better, more vulnerable the better. Brighter the light, especially when you're a kid, you have that innocence. Boy, he just would love to feed on that stuff. So, I don't know why we made this video. I mean, honestly, we want to just kind of spread awareness that this stuff's going on, but also want to give you guys the tools to battle it. I mean, when you talk to people, and you get a chance to share your stories, you're not alone. A lot of people get attacked, and I think it's becoming worse. How you have to fight these things. I was actually just spending time in the Word tonight. I'm going to give you a foolproof strategy here. What Jesus says is pray 3 times a day.
Put your hands up and let's begin to praise the Lord.
And basically he gives the example of Daniel. Daniel petitioned God 3 times a day and had incredible visions, was incredibly prolific in spreading God's message, saved tons of lives. I mean, just an amazing character in the Bible. Anyways, Daniel prayed 3 times a day. So he basically won all of his battles from his knees. So he prayed 3 times a day, and then Jesus tells us how to pray. He says, don't pray like the babbling pagans. So in other words, don't pray just to hear the sound of your own voice. He tells us to use the Lord's Prayer, which is, our God who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil, for thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. So, challenge for you guys out there, if you're dealing with spiritual battles, and you know who you are, and you got to be honest with yourself or you can't get better. I encourage you guys to take this challenge, 30 days, 3 times a day. Try the Lord's Prayer. See if that doesn't restore God's armor over your life. Because without that armor, you're extremely vulnerable. So, anything to add to that, Blake?
No, I think you hit the nail in the coffin there.
So,
just having a strong presence of Christ in your life, you would be amazed by what that can do for you and for your family. You know, that's a big factor.
And don't be surprised if you're not popular amongst the enemy. And as you get stronger in your walk, these things can show themselves to you. And let me tell you, they don't like light bringers. They don't like people who are bold for God's kingdom. So, yeah, you might be a target. If you come under attack, consider it a feather in your cap. You should be flattered because the enemy actually considers you a threat. Anyways, be safe, be strong in God, and we'll holler back at you.
It's gone. I feel it leave. How many felt it go? Did you feel it go?
Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Jesus.